Good evening, everyone. We have news to share with you about News Center meteorologist Tom Johnston.
Rob Caldwell is joining us with the latest. Rob.
Here is what we know. Tom was at Sunday River Ski Resort in Newry over the weekend. He emceed the Springfest event on Saturday and also sent back this video of the snowstorm there for our 6 p.m. newscast. On Sunday, according to police, Tom told family members he was headed home to Old Orchard Beach. When he did not arrive home, a missing persons report was filed. Since then, he has not contacted News Center or the police. Old Orchard Beach police told us they do not think Tom is in imminent danger. Police tell us they've been working their way through friends and family to try to figure out where he is. At this time, no organized searches have been conducted by family members or police. As a station, we've been supporting investigators and family in any way we can. Now, in the last 20 minutes, police released this missing persons flyer about Tom. It included a description of his vehicle. Officers are also asking anyone with information on Tom's whereabouts to immediately contact the Old Orchard Beach Police Department. The number 207-934-4911. Again, 934-4911. Amanda, Lee?
I mean, we are obviously family here at News Center, so our thoughts are certainly with him.
Absolutely, and we will keep you updated with any details that we get moving forward. Rob, thank you very much. There is other news to talk about today. A man from Somalia is in jail after immigration agents arrested him at a courthouse this morning.
A sergeant at the Cumberland County District Court says the federal agents arrested Abdi Farah Ali after he pled not guilty to an OUI charge during his arraignment today. Chris, you looked into this, and so far no word from immigration or customs on why they arrested him?
Yeah, Lee and Amanda, I've been in touch with Sean Newdower, a public affairs officer for ICE. He says he's looking into the facts of this arrest. Here's what we know. Tina Nadeau says she was working as the lawyer of the day at the courthouse, providing counsel to nearly 20 different people dealing with low-level crimes. She says she was meeting with Ali after his arraignment when an ICE agent opened the door to the office and said they would be taking Ali once he was finished. She says the agents then arrested him, which Sergeant Keith Jensen from the courthouse says happened without incident. Nadeau says she then went in and spoke on public record about the arrest in front of a courtroom filled with other immigrants.
And when they heard this, or their interpreters kind of, translated it for them, you could feel how tense people were. People were very, very concerned that, is ICE going to come to get me next?
Here's what the public affairs officer from ICE told me about ICE arrests at courthouses. The ICE public affairs officer said that arresting someone at a courthouse is usually a last resort. But when they do, the people they arrest usually have prior criminal convictions in the United States. A courthouse can also be one of the only places an agent can track down these people if ICE cannot find a viable home or work address. And because of security screening, a courthouse can be a safe place to arrest someone, and they say they always try to do that out of public view. Nadeau says that Ali has lived at the same address for quite some time, but again, we're waiting to hear from ICE on more details surrounding this arrest and why they took him into custody today. Lee and Amanda.
All right, Chris Costa, thank you very much for that. Meanwhile, the federal government doesn't have any agreements with jails in Maine to house ICE detainees.
When someone suspected of being in this country illegally is arrested in Maine, they're taken across the state border to New Hampshire. The Stratford County Jail in Dover currently houses about 100 ICE detainees from Maine, New Hampshire, and Vermont. County officials see it as a business opportunity. The feds pay $83 a day for each detainee. The county uses that money to offset jail operations. Jail officials recently built a wall inside that separates undocumented detainees from other people accused of crimes, a requirement of the federal government. By doing that, they are now allowed to hold all categories of ICE detainees.
And that gives us the flexibility to house specific individuals with specific requirements in safe and secure areas.
We became a one-stop shop for them. Instead of taking some detainees to us and some detainees to any other place that houses ICE inmates.
Now, detainees not taken to Dover are the ones who are close to deportation. They're housed at a jail in Massachusetts that's close to the airport. Hey, so remember how the Sea Dogs were supposed to have their home opener tonight? That obviously got rained out.
Yeah, putting the Sea Dogs at home in early April mystifies me. What didn't get rained out is Keith although we voted for that. He's here to talk about the rain.
Hey, you know, it's a risky proposition to try a home opener in this time of April in Maine. And it snowed a couple of years ago. This year, a driving, terrible 37 and rainy. They never had a chance to get this game off, unfortunately. And more rain will continue to move across Maine tonight. Let's take a look at the radar, and you can see some heavy bands right on schedule across York and Cumberland County. That's where we expected they would be at this time, and that's why it was really never much of a chance to play this home opener. If we widen the picture out, there's a bunch more where that came from. The rain on the lighter side across central and northern Maine, but continuing to fill in. And look at this low, big monster low, has a bunch of moisture to work with. Continue raining through tonight, and then it'll taper off early tomorrow morning. You can see the yellows and reds. Moving over down East Maine, 10, 11 o'clock tonight. Most of us stop the rain around midnight, but it'll take until 2 or 3 in the morning over far northern Maine. Friday is not exactly a winner of a day, but a lot less rain around than today. Just a few scattered showers should about do it. And I often have a saying, guys, that 38 and rainy is about the worst weather that you can have. That is on the dot what we have going on in Portland right now. I do have a warmer forecast for you. I'll be back in a few minutes with that.
Well, we certainly look forward to that.
That is terrible when it's cold and raining.
It's just the worst.
Yeah.
All right, airports. They want to regulate ride-sharing services like Uber and Lyft.
That's at the heart of a public hearing for a bill tomorrow. As it stands right now, taxis that line up at the Jetport pay $810 a year plus other fees. There's also a fee at the Bangor airport. As of right now, Uber drivers don't pay anything to the airport. The company does pay 10 grand to the state to even operate, though. Taxi drivers are upset, saying Uber drivers are taking away business and not subject to the same regulations. Jetport officials support the bill. They say the airport is a very tight space and Uber drivers can cause congestion by parking and waiting for customers or doing laps around the area. But Jason Bisbing says that's not an issue. He drives for Uber and goes to the airport daily. He says his company has already updated the app to stop that congestion from happening.
You don't sit in the airport. That was an issue in the past, and Uber addressed that when this came up previously by putting up their geofence that you can't get requests while on airport property.
Airport officials say the conference only works around the baggage claim area and the airport has no control over it. For them, it's an issue of safety and efficiency.
You know, it's a very small piece of real estate with a lot going on. At a peak hour, there can be 2,000 passengers who are trying to get in and out of here, all at the same time, all in the same roadway system. We can't have commercial operators competing with each other. They need to be working in a very thoughtful, regulated environment.
Now, airport officials also say the fees they collect from taxis and other drivers go to staffing, pickup, and drop-off areas, and that they currently lose money on ground transportation. A hearing, by the way, on the bill is set for tomorrow in Augusta.
Lawmakers are talking about later start times for your high school kids.
I think anywhere is a good place to start. By having it in statute as a suggestion, it helps communities who are wanting to make this shift be able to point back and look at the statute and say, hey, this is something we should be working toward.
That's what Representative Maddie Dowdy of Brunswick speaking about her bill to prohibit all Maine high schools from starting class before 8:30 in the morning. The Education Committee amended the bill to make later start times a suggestion yesterday and not a statewide mandate. Many high schools like Biddeford have already pushed back their start times, and well, they're finding that it's working fairly well for them.
You know, we don't have the lines that we used to with kids being tardy. It's dropped significantly. Our attendance rate is a little up, so it's nice to see kids there, awake and ready to go.
Change presented some challenges for Biddeford surrounding transportation and busing, but they have it sorted out.
Adrienne Stein here with more news now. Maine's Senate overwhelmingly passed the Real ID bill today. Supporters do say it is necessary so Mainers can use their driver's license to get through airport security starting next year. The state has yet to implement stronger federal security standards for IDs. The bill is now going to the House, and the governor does want it to pass. When it comes to jobs, Maine's economy is right back to where it was before the recession. The state's economy is close to the pre-recession peak of almost 621,000 jobs. All told, about 25,000 jobs were eliminated during the recession. Police say this woman right here left 5 kids in a car alone for more than an hour so she could get her hair done. Those kids included a baby and some toddlers, too. Police say the oldest is 3. Melissa Bagley from Unity now faces child endangerment charges. And guys, that is your news now. Back to you.
All right, thanks, Adrian.
I don't leave my kids in the car for more than 12 seconds, and that's to get to the back door. All right, Pepsi pulls an ad one day after it's released online, and boy, did they get some backlash.
Oof, they did. Coming up, Katie Ortiz breaks down the commercial with an advertising expert. We'll be right back. Okay, you've seen the Pepsi ad all over the internet with Kendall Jenner. She rips off her blonde wig and joins a movement in the streets.
Well, today Katie Ortiz sat down, not with Kendall Jenner, but with an ad expert to dissect that ad and show why it's so controversial.
I think what they're doing there is saying that she seems to be oblivious at first. Like, all this is happening right outside the window, but she's so self-absorbed that she's not paying attention. I think they're trying to say that it's a message it's growing, that people are finding out about it, and of course we don't know at this point what that message is, but she's having an awakening of sorts. She sees something's going on and she's curious and wants to find out more, so she pulls her wig off and goes out into the crowd.
You're giggling.
Well, it's this mock outrage or mock anger that doesn't ring true. Well, nothing is so far really authentic. It was so tone deaf that they were, these people are marching, but they're happy, they're laughing, they're cheerful, and if you look at any of the footage from the actual marches and protests, people are angry, they're upset, they're very focused, but everybody here is like they got a day off from work and they're just out mucking about. And there's her shot. There was a famous photograph of a woman at a Black Lives Matter protest that approached a police line.
Yes.
And that got national attention, international attention. So I think what they're trying to do is echo that and sort of pick up on that sentiment. But they totally missed the mark because there was anger and frustration in the original photograph and defiance, and there was not a bit of that in this scene.
It was more, let me save the day by giving you a can of Pepsi.
And of course, the Black Lives Matter came out and said that, geez, if we had only known that a overprivileged white woman could come out and hand a Coke to or Pepsi to a policeman, everything would be good.
In a statement, Pepsi said it was just trying to project a global message of unity, peace, and understanding, and said, quote, clearly, we missed the mark, and apologize.
They also apologized, by the way, to Kendall Jenner for putting her in that position at all.
All right, Keith's outside. I hope he's got waterproof magic markers for that whiteboard.
Okay, this is a question for the two of you because I don't have kids. Have you ever do you let them play with your phone?
I do. I watch them carefully. Some parents have learned the hard way, do not give your children your phone.
Oh my gosh, so get this. There's one family that ended up with a $10,000 bill thanks to app purchases from their little girl, okay? So here's what's happening. Amazon is refunding tens of thousands of people for those types of charges. It's all part of a settlement with the company. Here's what's happening, because kids are playing games on a Kindle, like there's Pet Shop Story, Ice Age Village, and Tap Zoo. Options then pop up for the kids to buy more virtual pets or maybe coins, but it's all with real money, of course. And they didn't need consent. So one mom's then 8-year-old bought 10 grand worth of virtual food for a virtual pet, putting a family vacation, among other things, in jeopardy.
We thought we were going to have to change our vacation plans or cancel our vacation plans that we had worked on for months and months of planning.
Well, thankfully, Amazon did refund their charges. The settlement deals with app purchases specifically from November of 2011 to May of last year, so 2016. Amazon will be refunding those charges to credit cards. More details on that are still coming out. So.
Yeah, and they need to make it, and they are starting to make it harder,
right.
where you have to put in a 4-letter code or a number and a letter or anything, so that the kid, you know, it's that a 4-year-old couldn't do it.
If this
so
isn't a reminder to check your parental settings, seriously. I don't know what is.
Yeah.
Let's block them out. Hey, so Hadlock Field, Keith Carson is there. They were supposed to have their opening night, but got a little rained out.
Schedule makers will never learn. What's up, Casey?
Yeah, it wasn't even close. I mean, there was no chance of getting this game in with these conditions, the driving rain. The good news is they do have quite a homestand, which includes a couple of really nice days that'll be coming up into early next week. So if you want to get out here and check them out, that would be the time. Now, not so much. Let's show you the radar. The storm continuing to drive in from southwest to northeast. Pretty much as expected, some heavier rain bands have moved in to southern Maine. They'll move into the mid-coast here very shortly. And you can see northern Maine generally with lighter rain, but they'll get into the heavy stuff later on tonight and through early tomorrow morning. Big wrapped up low brought a lot of severe weather to the Carolinas. And look towards New York City, see those lightning strikes. Wouldn't shock me if we get a few thunder boomers, as you like to say, over the coastline later on tonight. They'll be associated with the yellows and reds you see here on our predicted radar, and the radar continues to look nasty through much of the overnight hours till around 1 a.m. and then after that we start clearing up pretty rapidly. Now tomorrow isn't really a good looking day. There's a lot of clouds and still scattered showers, but not nearly as nasty as today. There will be no driven rain involved in Friday's forecast. As far as total rainfall left, about 3/4 of an inch still. Haven't seen much flooding. Don't anticipate we'll see much of that because most of the areas with the heavy rain really don't have very much snowpack, so you're not seeing the drainage problems that you might see in another scenario. We do still have flood watches though for York and Cumberland County. Again, I'm not overly concerned other than a little, urban flooding as you like to call it here and there. All right, let me show you something good after all that nastiness. Let's skip forward to Monday afternoon. 64, 68, 63. How about Tuesday afternoon? Do I hear 70? 72 in Sanford, maybe 75 in Freiburg. It's been a while, kids, since we've been that warm. How long exactly? October 19th since we hit 70, November 18th since we hit 65. 65 is a lock. 70 along the coastline might be a little harder to come by. I think inland, I like 70. I like maybe even over 70 on Tuesday afternoon away from the immediate coastline. The coastline will do okay as well, but you know how it goes. 62, 67 is what I've got right now, and then maybe some more unsettled weather as we head into Wednesday and Thursday. But yeah, it has been a very long time since we've seen temperatures like that. Starting on Sunday, into Monday, and into Tuesday, we've got some really nice weather. And Lee and Amanda, you know what I noticed as I was standing here is that Slugger, at least on this statue of himself, has a really strong medium shirt game as well.
Yes, he
there
does.
It is. He is stuffed into that thing, isn't he?
Yeah.
Couple too many Sea Dog biscuits. All right,
we got a little close to Keith there.
Yeah, we got an extreme close-up on Keith there. Nobody needed that. All right, we're back with more extreme close-ups from Keith, and we'll check in with Spo's. Big day for him. That's coming up.
On today's Brain Drops, kind of a different technology breakthrough. Almost everybody ends up getting a new phone because at some point they drop it flat on its face and the screen shatters, or maybe it's just a bad scratch. Well, they've developed this new kind of material and coating that may be able to heal itself after it scratches. The basic technology here is that they use ions that are oppositely charged so that when they scratch and they're separated, they inherently over 24 hours or more want to come back together. They want to rejoin each other because they're kind of attracted to each other as far as their charge goes. So there's a lot of applications for this in the phone world. Samsung actually already uses something like this on the back of their phones. The breakthrough here is you could use it all over the phone because it's conductive, and you could use your finger still to use your smartphone. Guys, good technology. I can't wait for Apple to steal it and pretend that they invented it.
Now that you've switched over. Hey, so Maine rapper Spose has had a big week. The Wells High School graduate came up with a really unique way to release his latest album.
This guy is ridiculously creative. Spose created, oh by the way, an app where after each level you beat, a new song from the album gets unlocked. Earlier this week, he went around hand-delivering copies of his new album and showing his new app to different media members to help promote the venture. For Spose, doing this part in person is important.
It's everything, because it's like these relationships are all you have in a way. You know, it's like you gotta, even years ago when my song blew up on the radio, it was only because Mark Curto over there at WCYY had come to a show and met me, and we had a good relationship. And so when I put out a record, it wasn't like I'm random guy asking him to play a record. He knew me, you know. And so it's like those email addresses and those like personal connections are kind of everything.
Now, I spent a few hours with Spose. Coming up next week, we'll have much more on how he went from Wells High School to rap star and everything in between.
Obviously, his most famous rap is his Storm Center rap. If you haven't seen it,
that is the best one. Yep. And the fact that he's awesome.
Right.